The film opens in the bustling port of Gothenburg, Sweden, where we are introduced to Tina, a woman with an extraordinary connection to nature, particularly insects. Her distinct facial features, which resemble those of a Neanderthal, make her stand out in a crowd. This genetic anomaly often draws stares and unsolicited attention from strangers. However, in her professional life, Tina is highly respected for her exceptional abilities, particularly her extraordinary sense of smell. One afternoon, while scanning passengers, she halts a young traveler and confidently claims that his bag contains exactly 4 liters of alcohol. The astonished young man protests, asserting that he bought the liquor legally. Remaining composed, Tina calmly informs him that he is underage and could face legal consequences. Recognizing that he has been caught, the young man gives in and departs without further protest. After her shift, Tina drives back to her remote home in the woods, where she lives with her boyfriend, Roland, a dog trainer. Despite her efforts to maintain harmony, the dogs in their home always react aggressively toward her, baring their teeth and growling whenever she is near. Feeling isolated even within her household, Tina takes solace in the stillness of the forest, often going for walks to clear her mind. The following day at work, Tina resumes her usual routine, utilizing her gift to detect any anomalies. A well-dressed man catches her attention, and despite a routine bag search revealing nothing suspicious, Tina remains unconvinced. She insists on checking his phone, but the man refuses and insists he is in a hurry. Her persistence is rewarded when she finally retrieves the phone's memory card, causing the man to panic. Desperate to destroy the evidence, he attempts to swallow it, but Tina's colleague intervenes just in time, preventing him from doing so. Security quickly restrains the man and confiscates the card for further investigation. As she returns to her station, something strange happens. Tina detects a scent unlike anything she has encountered before. She scans the incoming passengers but cannot identify the source. Then, the last person steps out of the ferry, a man named Vore. His appearance immediately unnerves her, as his facial features bear an uncanny resemblance to her own. Intrigued, Tina pulls him aside for inspection. While searching his belongings, she comes across an unusual device filled with leaves, insect larvae, and pupae. When she questions him about it, Vore explains that it is a larvae incubator, a crucial tool in his work. He then asks if she has an interest in insects. Caught off guard by his perceptiveness, Tina finds herself unable to respond and hastily ends the conversation, allowing him to pass. Later that evening, Tina visits her elderly father, who suffers from dementia. Initially, he does not recognize her, but after a brief moment of clarity, he remembers. They sit together in silence before he asks about her relationship with Roland. Sensing her lack of enthusiasm, he bluntly questions their intimacy. Uncomfortable, Tina evades the topic, but her father doesn't hold back. He suggests that Roland is only with her for convenience, relying on her to manage the household while he focuses on his interests. Though Tina instinctively defends her boyfriend, a nagging doubt lingers in her mind. She knows her father may be right. That night, she attempts to engage Roland in conversation, but he is too engrossed in the television to pay attention. Feeling invisible in her home, she steps outside, seeking refuge in the quiet of the woods. The following morning, Tina is summoned by Agent Agneta to discuss the memory card recovered from the suspect. Agneta reveals that it contains disturbing and illegal material. Puzzled by how Tina identified the man's guilt without any prior knowledge, Agneta questions her. Tina explains that her heightened sense of smell allows her to detect human emotions such as fear, guilt, and deceit. Though initially skeptical, Agneta recognizes the potential value of Tina's abilities and enlists her help in an ongoing investigation. The next day, Vore returns to the port. He greets Tina with an enigmatic smile and willingly submits to an inspection. While her colleague finds nothing unusual in his bag, Tina remains unconvinced. She insists on a strip search. To her astonishment, she discovers a long scar on his lower back and an even more shocking revelation. Vore has female genitalia. The discovery leaves Tina deeply unsettled, not just out of guilt for invading his privacy, but also because it raises questions about her identity. Later, feeling remorseful, Tina approaches Vore and offers him the opportunity to file a complaint against her. To her surprise, he refuses. Instead, they engage in a conversation that quickly turns personal. Vore shares insights about his life, explaining that he travels frequently and has never felt a need to settle in one place. The more he speaks, the more Tina feels drawn to him. Seeking answers about herself, she visits her father again, pressing him about the scars on her body. He dismisses her concerns, claiming she sustained them from a childhood fall. However, Tina finds his explanation unconvincing. Determined to uncover the truth, she visits Vore at his hostel the next day. She finds him outside, collecting maggots from a tree. He playfully offers her one, and after some hesitation, she bites into it. Finding the experience strangely satisfying, the encounter only deepens her curiosity about her nature. Trusting Vore to help her find answers, she invites him to stay in the vacant house next to hers. Upon arriving at Tina's home, Vore walks straight toward Roland's aggressive dogs. Instead of recoiling in fear, he lets out a low growl, a primal sound that immediately subdues them. The dogs, which had always reacted violently to Tina, now cower before Vore. Witnessing this, Tina feels an unexpected sense of security and belonging. As the days pass, Tina joins a police investigation into a suspected crime. While walking past an apartment building, she detects an overwhelming scent of guilt and shame from a man entering the premises. They attempt to follow him, but without a warrant, they are forced to leave. Just before the doors close, Tina hears the faint cries of a baby. She urges her superior to raid the apartment, convinced that the child is in danger. However, without concrete evidence, they cannot take action, leaving Tina frustrated and powerless. Later that evening, Tina and Vore walk through the woods. She reminisces about her childhood, revealing that she always felt different from other children. At one point, she believed she was special, but as she grew older, she accepted the idea that she was simply a human with a rare genetic condition. She also confesses her infertility due to the unusual positioning of her reproductive organs. Vore, however, challenges this belief, telling her that she is not an ordinary human. She is something superior. Vore's presence begins to stir something within Tina, and his influence extends beyond just her thoughts. One evening, he visits a neighbor who has recently given birth under the pretense of borrowing a saucepan. Inside, he lingers a little too long, making unsettling remarks about the baby before leaving. That night, he grows increasingly restless. His discomfort intensifies, and he rushes into the forest. Overwhelmed by an excruciating sensation, he pulls down his pants, revealing a hidden reproductive organ. As his body convulses in agony, he undergoes an experience eerily resembling childbirth. The following morning, Tina and a police officer conduct a stakeout, keeping a close watch on their prime suspects. The officer outlines their routine and informs Tina that they will have only an hour to search the apartment for incriminating evidence. Once inside, everything appears ordinary at first glance. However, relying on her extraordinary sense of smell, Tina moves toward a bookshelf and discovers a hidden compartment inside a trophy. As she carefully opens it, she finds a small camera containing deeply disturbing footage involving a baby. During the subsequent interrogation, the suspects vehemently deny any wrongdoing, fueling Tina's already simmering resentment toward them. One evening, a fierce thunderstorm looms over the sky. Suddenly, she notices Vore standing at her doorstep, visibly unsettled by the storm. Without hesitation, she lets him inside. As the storm rages on, they crouch beneath a table, flinching at every thunderous roar. When the storm finally subsides, they step outside, relishing the stillness in the aftermath. Then, in a moment of unexpected tenderness, Vore leans in and kisses Tina. Startled, she instinctively snarls and extends her tongue in a primal display of emotion. Instead of recoiling, Vore smiles knowingly. This, after all, is how their kind expresses affection. Embracing their true nature, they surrender to an animalistic passion, connecting in a way that Tina had never experienced before. After their intimate encounter, Vore reveals the truth about Tina's origins. He tells her that she is not human, but a troll, just like him. The unique abilities she always assumed were the result of a genetic anomaly. Her extraordinary sense of smell and her distinct facial structure are actually natural traits of her species. He then reveals the mystery of the scar on her lower back. It signifies the location of her tail removal. Listening in awe, Tina processes the shocking revelation as Vore shares stories of a secret community of trolls living in Finland. He invites her to leave behind her human life and join him in finding their kin. And for the first time, she feels a sense of belonging. Now embracing her identity, Tina roams the forest freely alongside Vore, reveling in the newfound connection to her true self. As they rest beneath the trees, she asks him why he had waited so long to reveal the truth. Vore admits he had hesitated because she seemed so deeply assimilated into human society. He then shares the dark history of their kind, how trolls were captured, experimented on, and slaughtered by humans. Consumed with hatred, Vore vows revenge, believing their suffering should be repaid in kind. Determined to confront her past, Tina visits her father at the nursing home, demanding answers. She presses him to tell her the truth, but he stubbornly clings to his fabricated story. As her anger flares, he becomes visibly frightened and calls for a nurse, forcing Tina to leave without the answers she seeks. Frustrated, she returns home, her mind racing. Overcome with a newfound sense of self, she throws Roland's belongings outside and demands that he leave. Shocked and terrified by the change in her demeanor, he gathers his dogs and departs the next morning. Later, Tina goes to Vore's cabin, but he is nowhere to be found. As she steps inside, a faint cry catches her attention. Following the sound, she discovers a small box inside the refrigerator. Trembling, she lifts the lid and is horrified to find a deformed infant inside. Unable to process the grotesque discovery, she quickly closes the box, keeping the truth to herself. Later, one of the suspects from the child abuse case is being transported to another facility. Along the way, the vehicle slows to allow a moose to cross the road. Seizing the moment, Vore emerges from the darkness, dragging the suspect from the van and instantly killing him. When emergency responders arrive at the scene, Tina is among them. Her superior, Agneta, notices her discomfort and questions whether she has uncovered anything significant. Unable to expose Vore, Tina denies having any leads and walks into the woods, where she finds him waiting. He admits to the killing, justifying it as a necessary act to silence the man. When Tina reacts with disgust, Vore grips her tightly, insisting that humans deserve to suffer for what they have done to their kind. Horrified, Tina confronts him about the baby in his fridge. With an eerie calmness, Vore explains that the infant is not human, but a hesit, a changeling. He reveals that he frequently gives birth to changelings and swaps them with human babies, a practice their kind has followed for generations. When Tina demands to know what happens to the human infants, his response chills her. He sells them. Overcome with revulsion, she asserts her dominance by walking away, severing herself from Vore and his twisted actions. The next day, she spots an ambulance parked in front of her neighbor's house. Inside, she realizes that Vore has already replaced their baby with a changeling. Determined to stop him, she rushes to his cabin, only to find him gone. Searching for a clue, she finds a note left behind, instructing her to meet him on the ferry that night. Later that evening, Tina arrives at the ferry, her expression unreadable. Vore greets her warmly, unaware of her true intentions. Before he can react, police officers surround him. As they move in to make the arrest, he looks at Tina one last time, bidding her a final farewell. Then, in a sudden burst of movement, he breaks free and leaps into the sea, disappearing beneath the waves. Sometime later, Tina's father visits her and finally confesses the truth. He reveals that he once worked in a scientific facility that had held her biological troll parents captive. Before they were discovered, they entrusted him with their child, Tina. Overwhelmed with emotion, she asks what her real name is. Her father softly replies, Riva. Months pass, and Riva fully embraces her troll identity, living freely in the wilderness. One day, she returns to her abandoned home and discovers a large box on the doorstep. Dragging it inside, she cautiously opens it. Inside, nestled in soft blankets, lies a troll infant. Alongside the baby, she finds a musical postcard from Finland, signaling that this child is hers and Vore's. As she holds the infant close, a profound realization washes over her. This is her chance to raise her child away from the cruelty of humans. With unwavering resolve, she vows to protect and nurture the child, fully embracing her true nature as a troll at last. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.